Given the amount of items we need to cover tonight, I'm going to go ahead and call this special meeting of the Cunningham Town Board to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu,
Here.
Ms. Lout,
Here.
Ms. Hersey,
Here.
Mr. Brown, Mr. Roberts,
Here.
Mr. Colebrook,
Here.
Mr. Miller, Ms. Marlin,
Here.
Ms. Chenoweth,
Present.
Mr. Williams.
Here.
Next item on the agenda is public participation. Does anyone here wish to address the Cunningham Town Board? Do we have representatives from CU Fair here who wish to speak?
I don't see them present, Mayor.
I see Ben Miller. Ben Mueller.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I'm present. I can give a very brief update. Thank you so much for having us here for this evening.
Sure, you have 5 minutes, Ben.
Sure. We have, as you know, on the agenda several items. I think that the item that that Danielle asked me to say a few words about was our upcoming grant that we had requested, and to give a little bit of background about what we've been doing in the COVID-19 response. So I will say that this has been a tremendous opportunity as well as a tremendous challenge. We have stepped up our operations, particularly in the area of food insecurity and rental assistance. We are at the peak of the COVID, we were delivering 500 to 500 families a week. We are now delivering around 300 families a week. Of those, 140 of those families are in Urbana. We are also doing quite a bit with rental assistance. We've helped over this period of time around 60 families during this period. And then, of course, we continue to have our free store where we have, thanks from East Central Illinois, a truck, East Central Illinois, or rather the Illinois Community Foundation, I should say. And we're doing, during this period of time, we've had around 60 families that have come in and requested items from our store. So all of this is possible through a tremendous coordination and cooperation through a lot of organizations that I can't probably mention all of them, but I'll just go through the list very, very quickly in the remaining time, because I want to express my gratification and my appreciation to these organizations: Champaign-Urbana Public Health District, the East Illinois Food Bank, the PTA Councils, Family Helping Families, CU Mutual Aid, Covenant Fellowship Church, Promise Healthcare's Food is Medicine, CU Better Together in Stone Creek Church, Ben the Ark of Champaign-Urbana, the Immigrant Justice Task Force, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Urbana-Champaign, Salvation Army, Central Illinois Mosque and Islamic Center Food Pantry, St. Patrick's Catholic Church, Catholic Charities, the Regional Planning Commission of Champaign County, the Rental Assistance Program, United Way of Champaign County, the Community Foundation of East Central Illinois, the Cunningham Township, the City of Urbana, City of Champaign Township, Unit 4 Champaign School District, Unit 116 School Districts, First Followers, and of course the City of Urbana. We are grateful for all the cooperation.
Thank you very much, Ben. Does anyone else wish to address the Cunningham Town Board? Jared, did you have your hand up?
I was just trying to get Jason's attention that I was here.
Okay. Yes, let the record show that Jason Miller, or Jared Miller and Bill Brown have joined the town board meeting, so we have a full quorum. Okay, we'll move on to business on the agenda. I do want to indicate we've got to have a hard stop at 6:55 p.m. due to an appointment at shortly after 7 when we start our other meeting. So hope we can be productive and effective in this meeting. New business, Danielle.
Thank you. I will be brief. The first resolution is good news. We received $204,228 to assist with expenditures incurred due to COVID-19. As the city did last week, we have to go through a process of accepting those monies. They will be both for past expenditures and for future expenditures. The criteria are listed here. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions for Danielle? It's wonderful news.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we accept resolution number T 2020-09-013R, which is accepting local coronavirus urgent remediation emergency support cures.
There's a second. Second by, I think, did Bill Colbrook second that first? Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Thank
But that is stepped on somebody else too.
Any further discussion? Okay, will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu,
Yes.
Ms. Lout,
Yes.
Ms. Hersey,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Colebrook,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
That motion passes. Next item is resolution number T 2020-09-014R.
So this is a resolution authorizing me to release funds from the last fiscal year to CU Fair. As we have seen in past years, if we do not release the funds by June 30th, we essentially have to bring to the board a resolution authorizing the release. In this case, CU Fair did submit all of their paperwork on time. And there was a clerical error on our part in that we did not see that submission. So we've corrected for that error. I've provided the information, and I'm just requesting that we release the second half of their grant.
Any questions for Danielle? Okay, is there a motion? Mary Alice.
I'll move resolution number T 2020-09-014R, resolution authorizing the supervisor to release funds to the Champaign-Urbana Friends of Immigrants and Refugees, CU Fair, for consolidated social service funding for fiscal year 20 for approval.
A second.
Moved by Mary Alice, seconded by Bill Brown. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu,
Yes.
Ms. Lout,
Yes.
Ms. Hersey,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Colebrook,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
That motion passes. Next up is resolution number T 2020-09-015R.
So this resolution is to approve a grant for $10,000 from Cunningham Township to CU Fair. I will note they're in the process of changing their name to Immigrant Services of Champaign-Urbana. They were funded last year for $7,500 for volunteer coordination. As I mentioned, they did properly submit all grant reports. They applied for $12,000 in funding with a complete application. We set aside their application because of the misunderstanding about their second disbursement. So they were not included in the first round of submissions to you. That said, as you've seen, it's been a rolling process of us dispersing grants for this year. They are focused on supporting the immigrant population through coronavirus, and they meet 8 out of the 9 criteria for social service funding, and I've listed those criteria in your memo. Therefore, I am recommending a social service grant. It would come out of these social service grants other categories, so it would not impact the other social service grant allocations that we've made. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Sharice and Mary Alice.
Okay, so the money that we just got that we just voted on for the cures money is I'm trying to understand, are we changing the amount to CU Fair based on that we got money coming in, or that we have to have a new agreement, or what?
So the CURE funding is not related to this agenda item. The CURE funding is reimbursements for administrative costs that are incurred by Cunningham Township for COVID-19. This board approved 2 line items in the budget for Cunningham Township fiscal year 21. Those 2 line items are $100,000 for social service grants through the consolidated social service grants process, and an up to $50,000 in what we would typically refer to as rapid response grants. I'm requesting that since we have set aside the $100,000 for specific grants that were recommended from the grants committee, I'm recommending that $10,000 come out of the other grants category. I checked in with the committee once we found the error with CU Fair's second disbursement, and they suggested that this would be the best approach forward, is to basically do an additional grant to CU Fair. So essentially this is a renewal grant for CU Fair. I had originally proposed $10,000 in a grant disbursement to the committee, and as I said, it was held up from this misunderstanding about the submission of their second disbursement request.
Mary Alice?
Yeah, I wanted to confirm exactly what Danielle had just talked about. So the amount of money that we had passed for the social services, none of that's being touched right now. This is the emergency grants that were set aside. So that was, but Danielle answered it for us.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Is there a motion?
I'll move that we pass resolution number T 2020-09-015R, a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign an agreement with Champaign-Urbana Friends of Immigrants and Refugees for a social service grant for FY21.
I'll second.
Moved by Julie Lout, seconded by Bill Brown. Further discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu,
Yes.
Ms. Lout,
Yes.
Ms. Hersey,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Colebrook,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
That motion passes. Next item is resolution number T 2020-09-016R.
So this, you may recall that this was on your agenda for 2 weeks ago. At that time, you had approved certain amounts for the refugee center that were different from the amounts that the grants committee had recommended, or that I intended to bring before you. It was simply a typo where I pulled the wrong number off a different grant. I caught it in the process of administering the grants, and I'm bringing a resolution back to you to correct those errors. You have a link to the original recommendations from the committee, and you also have a link to the old resolution as well as the new resolution so that you can see the changes. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Questions on this one? Is there a motion?
Okay, I'll do that. I move resolution T-2020-09-016R, a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign agreements with the Refugee Center for grants dispersed through this consolidated social service funds for the year fiscal year 2021.
I'll second.
Moved by Dennis, seconded by Sharice. Is there any discussion? Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu,
Yes.
Ms. Lout,
Yes.
Ms. Hersey,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Colebrook,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
That motion passes. Next up is Resolution T 2020-09-012R. I believe there's information that was emailed just a couple minutes ago. Anything to add, Danielle? You're muted.
It's the Zoom error of the day. So as you know, every 4 years, the compensation is set for elected officials before their term expires, and all of us rerun. You have a draft resolution before you. I requested what information that you needed us to gather. We've attempted to compile most of that information in a spreadsheet that I've shared with you. This is for discussion only. We intend to bring this to a vote at the October meeting. It needs to be on file the first week of November. So essentially, I think for in the interest of time, I would suggest that this be a good time for you to ask any additional questions you have, or you could ask Wayne, who is present, how to read the spreadsheet if you have any questions about the information that's before you. So, and then we can, there's further discussion that can happen at the next meeting. But if there's other information you need to get us together, we can do that.
Mary Alice.
Danielle, I don't seem to have permission to your Excel or your Google Sheet. I was able to get the link for the, I think, 2016 report on salaries, but there's nothing in there.
If you go to the link again and re-click it, I think it'll work for you now. You just go back to the email.
Okay.
Let me know. It appears that most of you are in the document.
Julie.
I just wanted to thank Wayne. He walked me through this and talked since this was new to me. And so I really appreciate you spending the time getting this information together and walking me through the info.
Anyone else have any questions? Jared.
So the resolution itself, when we get it, Danielle, we're actually going to vote on the next four years, right? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. When we see it, I'm guessing we're going to get another version of this pay draft, but it'll have the next 4 years proposed in it.
No, that's your job, not ours. So I don't feel comfortable putting proposed pay for a position that I'm currently in. So essentially what we offered is an ordinance with blanks in the area, and then we provided you the data that you requested so that you can make a decision about what you propose for the next 4 years for both the supervisor pay, the assessor pay, the clerk's pay. And I'll note the clerk is paid through 2 line items. One is through the city of Urbana, I believe, and the other is through the town clerk. So you can actually see both of them in N and O, column N and O, and then P is actually the aggregate. And then of course the mayor and the council are also included, but that happens, you voted before to zero out your pay to the town board of $0, but that is also part of the ordinance and on the table.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was curious that we were supposed to be getting it back to you. How would you like to receive our suggestions? Are we just gonna send them individually and then you'll compile them and we'll average them out or something, or how are we going to do that?
whatever process you want, if you want to designate one of you to gather those, if you would like me to play that role, I'm happy to. If you want me to take each ward and make a column and then provide that spreadsheet back to you so that you can see the amounts and the averages, you know.
That might be good. I don't know, since this is the first time I'm voting on one of these since I've been on council, I don't know what we've done in the past, but maybe Dennis or Bill can enlighten what we've done to make those decisions before.
Yeah. So we haven't really talked about our own pay because we have decided, we voted, I don't know, like 6 years ago or 8 years ago to not receive pay. It's been a couple of cycles of city council. So we haven't had a discussion about that. And I can't remember how we talked about the supervisors and the other officers' pay. It's been a long time now.
Therese.
Okay, so well, I guess what I'm trying to understand, the pay for the next 4 years, because what I see is a it seems to be a not necessarily a cost of living increase, but an increase in pay roughly every year by about $900 to $1,000. And I'm like Julie, I'm not a spreadsheet reader, so Wayne, you may have to. You're the math dude. You may have to actually kind of help me through this. And so we're supposed to fill in the blanks according to the percentage from prior years, or what's put there. Like like it says Cunningham Township assessor percentage increase from prior, and on line 17, column D, it says 1.37%, and we calculate what that is from the 68, the 64. I'm sorry.
So one thing I can do is I can send you the last salary resolution so you can kind of see what that looks like. You did not, you don't vote on a percentage increase. What you actually do is you put a salary in for each of the years. You can do it that way. If there is going to be an increase, you have to set the increase. So you have to say what that dollar amount is. And that's a policy decision by the board. You can estimate the cost of living and do it that way. There are many different ways you can do it, and different townships do it different ways. This town board and city council has done it one of two different ways since 2007, per my research. So 4 years ago is when you actually zeroed out the town board salary. What happened is 4 years ago, the supervisor got a bump, and then the next couple years, the next 3 years in the supervisor's term, there was a $900 increase voted in. For the assessor, the town board decided to just increase it by $900. And then, so that was, and that was to reflect, I believe it was supposed to be about 1%, and that was actually proposed by Bill Brown. What I would like everyone to remember is that, think about the positions, not the people in the positions, because any of us could not be here tomorrow. So, it's about compensation for the position and not the person necessarily. And so you have the comps. If you want more information for the township supervisor, you were provided the average raise for the various different townships, the salary per population. You're provided with the GA cases per month. For the assessor, you're provided the average raise in dollar amounts and percentage, salary per parcel, salary per population, and salary per $1,000 of EAV. And you actually have two numbers for Cunningham Township. You have one number for what it is currently, or I think those numbers are 2019 numbers. And you have another number of Carl were to be on the tax rolls. And then you have the comps.
Okay. Bill Brown, did you want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to recall what we did last time. If you look at the percent increase from prior, that's pretty instructive. You can tell that the time before last, in 2014, it looks like they allocate it by percentage. So they said the first year there'd be no increase, then 1%, then 2%, then 2% again for the supervisor. Last time when we did it in 2017 for 2018, I guess, or 20.
No, you would have done it in 2016.
2016.
For the term beginning.
You just used flat amounts. So then it was like 900 every year for the, I think we even rounded it up because we wanted them to have even dollar amounts. So the first year it kind of evened it out, and then it was 900 a year for a couple of them and 1,000 a year for mayor, except we did look at comps last time, and we were convinced by the mayor that the comps were a little low for the mayor. So we increased that by 2,500 instead of 12, or instead of 1,000 the first year. So it was kind of, so you can do it different ways. Last year, we just decided to do flat amounts every year. We did it by calculating a percentage, kind of as an estimate what inflation is currently, and then basically kept the increase, just assumed that the inflation wouldn't change much over the next 4 years. It looks like, looking back over the last few years, it wasn't that far off. Inflation's factor has been between 1% and 2%. That's pretty much what the raises were. I guess last year inflation was 2.3. This year it might be a little less than that. So I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion either way, but I do think that we looked at comps pretty closely last time. So I don't think we were way off on anything. So I'd be inclined to support some sort of either flat percentage adjustment, or if or flat dollar amount adjustment, something like that. Some increase to try to match inflation.
We'll be providing similar information for city council salaries shortly. Julie.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, at least from when I read this and the comparables, looking at the work that Wayne, for example, has to do for parcels, and you look at comparable parcel numbers in other cities, to me, it looks like we're a little low in comparison to that. And I feel like we're also a little low in population for supervisor. So I did not do the calculations, so I don't have specific numbers to give you, but I will say that I would be in support of looking at those comparables again and not simply giving percentage, because I think that we should ensure that we're paying a fair wage in terms of what comparable jobs are, not just what inflation is.
Okay. Any further discussion? Again, if people have questions, they can call either Danielle or Wayne.
I just want to add, the only township that I found that actually passed a salary resolution at this point is Winfield Township.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're also getting information about G8 cases. So hopefully we'll have something that's like we're missing some data in that. And in some cases it's averages from last year. In some cases it's last month. So just trying to have those be a standard across the board. So you will see those change. I think the others are pretty set.
Okay. Okay. We ready to move on to the next item?
I think that's it.
Okay. Next item is the approval of the county is a resolution that would approve the county treasurer's July 24th proposal concerning post-judgment interest in the Carl case.
Yes, I sent out a brief summary about this situation to you, but basically I believe that we should move forward given the cost benefit analysis of legal funds, and we do have a chance to recoup this interest payment in the future. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I know we're close on time.
Yep, damn.
Any questions? Fred, did you want to add anything? Can you please unmute? Fred, can you unmute?
Sorry, I was not muted before. I think the letter, pardon, the letter from the state attorney explains it very well, and what Danielle said is correct. The city will get, has a lot more to gain by this than the township does, but in any event, there's no reason to spend any money on it when the county is offering a small amount of township and almost $9,000 to the city. It just makes sense to do this.
Okay. Well, in that case, is there a motion? Mary Alice.
I just had a quick question. What's the total amount? It's not in the resolution.
It is, so if you look at the letter from the treasurer's office, the adjusted, meaning compromise share of the post-judgment interest is $2,352.18.
The amount that the benefit to the township, just doing the arithmetic, would be $551.74 that they will pay to the township instead of zero on this particular matter.
I believe that's the difference between the initial request and the compromise. Is that correct, Fred?
It's the difference between their offer of zero and the compromised amount.
Yeah.
So it's that much to the benefit of the township.
Any other questions? Could we get a motion?
I'll move that we pass resolution T 2020-09017, resolution approving the proposal of the Champaign County Treasurer concerning post-judgment interest.
I'll second that.
Moved by Mary Alice, seconded by Julie. Further discussion. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Wu,
Yes.
Ms. Lout,
Yes.
Ms. Hersey,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Roberts,
Yes.
Mr. Colebrook,
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
That motion passes. And with no further business before the Cunningham Town Board, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.